Welcome to the Gray Area. Kevin Gray of 105.3 The Fan here at the American Airlines Center. The Dallas Mavericks lose their second straight game to the Chicago Bulls, 117-101, despite the fact that Luka Doncic had his 29th career triple-double after losing to the Chicago Bulls. The Dallas Mavericks now dropped to 6-6 on the season. Luka Doncic went off for 36 points, 15 assists, and 16 rebounds in this game. Lauri Markkanen had 29 for the Chicago Bulls. It seemed like the Dallas Mavericks did not have the kind of energy that they needed. Obviously down several key players in this basketball game. Again, Tim Hardaway was out in this game due to a groin strain. You still had guys like Jalen Brunson, Dorian Finney-Smith, Maxi Kleber, and others, Dwight Powell included, all missing from action against the Chicago Bulls. And a terrible second quarter really doomed the Dallas Mavericks, who gave up 40 points in the second quarter after being down only 4 at the end of the first quarter, despite shooting 9 of 25 from the field. The Mavericks could never really get it going against a team in the Chicago Bulls that came out hungrier and it seemed with more energy throughout this basketball game, despite the fact that Luka Doncic, his heroics, as he passed Michael Jordan for 16th on the all-time triple-doubles list with his 29th career triple-double. The Mavericks just could not get any scoring from anyone else. Anytime they built some momentum, especially in the third quarter where they were able to cut the lead down to 9, the Mavericks were allowing the Bulls to extend the lead. After cutting down the lead to 9 against the Bulls, the Mavericks allowed the Bulls to extend the lead back to 14 at the end of 3 quarters. Luka Doncic had already had a triple-double by that point, and it seemed like if he wasn't scoring, there wasn't anyone else that could generate any kind of offense, and that was evident, obviously, with Tim Hardaway missing from this basketball game. Their inability to get stops, giving up points in transition, giving up 23 points on double-digit turnovers the Mavericks did to the Chicago Bulls, led to this team dropping its second consecutive basketball game.
I thought we had a very encouraging start to the game. We were doing some great things defensively. We had a 5 or 6 point lead, and then we had a couple struggles offensively that I think affected us defensively. And then the last 6 minutes of the first quarter and then the second quarter really hurt us. Second half was much better, but I thought that was the key to the game. The 40-point second quarter was the killer.
You can understand how shorthanded they were against the Milwaukee Bucks and still competing, losing only by 3 to Giannis and the Bucks in that basketball game. But today, it seemed like the life was sucked out of this basketball team early on, especially in that second quarter where I mentioned they gave up 40 points in that basketball game. And questions about the energy level about the Mavericks and whether or not they had the necessary energy to come out and fight against the Chicago Bulls, where you could tell guys like Lauri Markkanen, Otto Porter Jr., and others came out with energy, fire, and passion, and it seemed like only Luka Doncic was the one who came out with any kind of energy and fire to be able to try and keep this game close. If Luka Doncic doesn't go off for the triple-double that he had, the Dallas Mavericks lose this game by 30 points. That is how crucial his game was with respect to the kinds of scoring, rebounding, and input that he had in this basketball game. At one point in the first quarter alone, Luka Doncic scored or assisted on 16 points for the Dallas Mavericks. He was doing everything for this basketball team, and they needed all that they could get from him, but they could not get any contributions from really anyone else. When you start looking at this particular basketball game, Kristaps Porzingis, yes, had 20 points, but only shot 9 of 19 from the field in 33 minutes of play. Wes Iwundu, who okay defensively, but was a negative 11 in plus minus. Trey Burke did not have a good game. He was a negative 23 in the plus minus for this Dallas Mavericks team. So really no one else besides Luka Doncic was really able to keep this team in it throughout the stretches of the basketball game. Josh Green made his first start. The rookie out of Arizona made his start today for the Dallas Mavericks as they were shorthanded. Wes Iwundu and Josh Green starting in the starting lineup together for the first time together due to Tim Hardaway missing from this lineup. Jalen Brunson was not playing today, but according to Rick Carlisle, has tested negative for the last week and a half in terms of COVID and was miffed after the postgame about why Jalen Brunson didn't play. Here is Rick Carlisle talking about the idea that Jalen Brunson could have played but will be available against the Toronto Raptors.
Look, I think we're going to get Brunson back tomorrow. I have no idea in the world why he wasn't able to play today. I mean, guy basically tested negative for a week and a half and didn't have it, but they just decided that he couldn't play today. So he'll join us tomorrow and join us at the plane, and he'll be able to play tomorrow. So, you can go figure on that one.
So Rick Carlisle not very happy about the idea that Jalen Brunson didn't play in this basketball game when it sounds like he had the opportunity to do so. It looks like he will be ready to go. This was a game that the Bulls beat the Mavericks for the second time. The Bulls only played the Mavericks twice this year. They beat them the first time in Chicago when Zach LaVine had 39 points in 38 minutes. He really wasn't a factor in this basketball game when you look at his overall numbers. He was a plus 11, but only had 10 points in this game. So you had a chance to check Zach LaVine, but you really couldn't do anything else with Lauri Markkanen and others, where Lauri Markkanen had 29 points. Luka was asked after the game about the energy level and whether or not it had a factor due to the amount of players that were missing for this Mavericks team. Here's what Luka had to say about the performance and the energy level from the Mavericks against the Chicago Bulls.
What did you think of the energy level today, particularly given that you guys are in a very difficult stretch of games?
I mean, that's on me. The second half, played terrible. And I think that's on me that game. I shouldn't, I would say I was being selfish a little bit because, I had 30 points in the first half. And that wasn't me in the second half. I got to do way better than that. And that's just on me. I shouldn't be doing this.
Tim McMahon.
Look, you had 15 assists in the game. When you say you were playing selfishly, what do you mean by that?
I'm just taking some shots I shouldn't be taking, but just got to do way better than this. And as a team, we got to step up, especially defensively, bring the energy. There's no fans in the building, so the energy don't come from the fans now. So we got to create our own energy and, go there and try to win every game.
So Luka Doncic answering the tough questions after the game was over with, despite the fact that he had another triple-double for this basketball team. This team gets back on the road in a back-to-back as they travel to Tampa to take on the Toronto Raptors on Monday night. Obviously, this is a team that is still trying to figure things out from a health perspective with respect to the amount of players that were missing in this game. It will be amazing to see once this team gets its full complement of players back what they can do. Obviously, if this team had several players in the lineup today, this will be a team that will have the opportunity to have won this basketball game because the heroics of one Luka Doncic kept them in this game all by himself. Obviously, what the Mavericks need is good health and good fortune, and some of these players to come off the health and safety protocol list to be able to give them the kind of depth that they are accustomed to. Right now, they are just completely shorthanded, and while, yes, to a man, they came out and competed against the Chicago Bulls, it simply was not enough to stem the tide against a Chicago Bulls team that was hungrier and wanted it more just because of the shorthanded nature of the Dallas Mavericks. The effort necessarily wasn't the issue, but the energy and lack thereof that the Dallas Mavericks displayed in this game was evident just because of what they were dealing with from a health and safety protocol standpoint and who they were missing in this particular game. So the Dallas Mavericks will look to regroup as they take on the Toronto Raptors. Obviously, the shorthanded nature of what they dealt with was really hampering them in terms of what they could do offensively, and that was exacerbated in this game. Luka Doncic was the only one that could create offense in terms of assisting other players, scoring buckets on his own, and there was really no one to facilitate his own offense, and you saw that time and time again in this basketball game. An offense that looked out of sync, out of rhythm, and Luka Doncic really being the only playmaker and scorer on the floor consistently throughout this game against the Chicago Bulls. And despite the heroics that he had, really couldn't get the kind of help from his teammates that he needed. They all tried as best as they could, but when you're missing your third best scorer on your team in Tim Hardaway, Maxi Kleber, your most versatile defender, obviously Dorian Finney-Smith, one of the best perimeter defenders on this team, and the kind of scoring that you can get off the bench from Jalen Brunson is going to make for a difficult night for most nights when you're missing those kinds of players. So the Mavericks look to regroup at 6-6. They will try to get themselves back into it when they take on the Toronto Raptors. Again, This is the kind of thing that you're dealing with when you're missing several players. So I'm not going to beat up the Mavericks too much for this game. Obviously did not shoot the ball well when you start looking at what they did, only shooting 44% from the field and only 25% from the three-point line. But when you have a lot of non-scorers taking unnecessary shots and uncharacteristically taking those kinds of shots, this is what can happen when you're playing a team in Chicago who is still learning how to try to win basketball games after blowing a 22-point lead against the Oklahoma City Thunder and trying to figure out ways to win. This is the kind of bounce-back game for Billy Donovan and his club that they needed against a good basketball team, albeit a shorthanded one in the Dallas Mavericks. The Dallas Mavericks get back on the floor against the Toronto Raptors on Monday. We will see if they were able to get Jalen Brunson back with respect to him getting back on the floor, because he is much needed to try and get some bodies on the floor for the Dallas Mavericks. You can follow me on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at Kevin Gray Sports. Be sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel, also right here at Kevin Gray Sports. We'll talk to you later. Peace.